The bridge of the battleship Odyssey was a tomb of quiet tension. Commander Leo Vance stood before the main viewer, his hands locked behind his back. On the screen, the Galaxy Council's station hung in the blackness, a silver ring against a field of stars. The only sound was the low hum of the ship's engines. His second, a younger man named Ben Carter, stood beside him. "She will do it, Leo. Maya can talk them into anything." Vance did not answer. He watched the screen. His hope was a fragile thing, balanced on the skill of one woman. Holt was down there, Earth's best diplomat. She was finishing the peace talks to end 10 years of Cold War. Her success meant his crew could go home. Her failure meant more fighting, more death. A light blinked on Carter's panel. "We have the feed from the chamber. Audio and visual are live." The main viewer switched to a grand hall. Maya stood alone before a curved bench. Seated above her were the masked delegates of the council. Their leader, a man called Silas, was a statue in his high chair. Maya's voice was calm and clear. She laid out Earth's final offer. It was fair. It was more than fair. Silas listened, his masked face giving nothing away. When Maya finished, the silence felt heavy. Then Silas spoke. His voice was flat, like metal on metal. "The human words are a lie. Your ambition is a sickness. We see the truth." Maya's calm broke for a second. "Leader Silas, I assure you." Before she could finish, hidden panels in the floor slid open with a sharp hiss. Metal clamps shot out and locked around Maya's ankles, holding her fast. She struggled, a look of shock on her face. On the Odyssey, Vance lunged forward. "What is this? Carter, open a channel now." Silas looked up, his gaze seeming to find the camera directly. "The sentence for deceit is death. Let this be our answer to Earth." A shimmering blue field of energy erupted from the floor, engulfing Maya Holt. For a single terrible moment, her body was a silhouette of pure light. Then she was gone, vanished. The feed cut out, returning the viewer to the silent starfield. The bridge was utterly still. No one breathed. Leo Vance stared at the empty screen, where his friend and his hope had just been erased. The quiet was worse than any explosion. He could feel the eyes of his crew on his back, waiting. He turned slowly. His face, once just tired, was now carved from stone. His eyes were dark and empty. He moved to his command chair and pressed a button on the armrest. A low tone echoed through the ship, signaling a fleet-wide channel. His voice was a low, rough sound, stripped of all feeling. "All ships. This is Commander Vance. The peace is dead." He took a short, sharp breath. The next words felt like poison in his mouth. "Switch to attack pattern. Iron hammer." For a second, nothing happened. Then across the fleet, engines roared to life. Weapon systems powered up, filling the silence with a rising whine. The Odyssey surged forward, its nose aimed directly at the heart of the council station. Ben Carter looked at his commander, his own face pale. "Leo, the Iron Hammer plan is a one-way trip. The math does not work. We cannot win." Vance kept his eyes fixed on the target growing on the screen. His reply was simple and final. "We are not here to win, Ben. We are here to burn it all down." The Galaxy Council station swelled on the main viewer, a city of metal and light. The Odyssey led the charge, a spear of dark steel. Behind it, the rest of the 7th Fleet fanned out. Alarms blared across the bridge, enemy fighters launching. Ben Carter yelled from his station. "Multiple squadrons. Stay on course," Vance ordered, his voice flat. "All ships, maintain formation. Do not break." The first council missiles streaked toward them. Flak bursts lit up the dark space like sudden suns. A human destroyer, the Starling, took a direct hit to its side. It broke apart, a silent flower of fire and debris. Vance did not flinch. Gunner Sam Cross, target their lead carrier.
Fire.
Fire all forward batteries. Cross was a young man, his hands shaking. He had watched Maya Holt die. Now he saw the Starling die. He gripped his controls, his knuckles white, fired. The Odyssey shuddered as its main guns sent heavy shells ripping into the enemy ship. The carrier's shields flared and died. Its hull cracked open, spilling air and fire. The Council fleet was disciplined. They moved in perfect, predictable patterns. But Iron Hammer was not a disciplined plan. It was a brawl. "Vance, they are flanking us," Carter warned. "They are trying to pinch us." "Let them," Vance said. "Order the frigates to ram the flanking group." The comms filled with static and shouts. No one questioned the order. Two old frigates, the Hawk and the Sparrow, turned hard. They drove themselves directly into the heart of the Council formation. The resulting explosions were massive, a storm of shrapnel that tore the enemy ships to pieces. The path to the station was clear, but the cost was immense. Half the human fleet was already gone. "Bring us in close," Vance commanded. "Prepare the Marines. We are boarding." The Odyssey flew through the debris field, its hull screeching as metal scraped against it. It swung alongside the main docking ring of the Council station. With a heavy thud, the ship latched on. The boarding tubes fired, punching through the enemy hull. Vance stood up, strapped on a combat vest, and picked up a rifle. "Carter, you have the bridge. You cannot lead the boarding party, Leo. It is not your job." "My job ended when they killed our envoy," Vance said. He turned and ran for the exit, joining the stream of armored Marines. The fight inside the station was close and brutal. Council guards in white armor fired from behind barricades. The air was thick with smoke and the smell of burned metal. Vance moved with a cold fury, firing his rifle, pushing forward. His only goal was the central chamber. His only target was Silas. They fought their way to the large, circular doors of the Council chamber. The Marines placed charges. The blast blew the doors inward. Vance stepped through, his rifle raised. The chamber was empty. The high chairs were vacant. There was no Silas, no delegates. Only one person stood in the center of the room. A woman in a torn Earth military uniform. Her face was thin, her eyes haunted. Vance knew her. Commander Eva Rostova. She was an intelligence officer. She had been declared missing, presumed dead, 3 years ago. She looked at him, her expression not of joy, but of dread. "Leo," she said, her voice a dry whisper. "You should not have come." Played right into his hands. Behind her, the main chamber screen flickered to life. It showed a map of the galaxy. Thousands of red dots previously hidden began to pulse. They were in every human-aligned system, deep behind friendly lines. Sleeper ships, hidden fleet. Eva looked at the map, then back at Vance, her face pale with fear. "The war you just fought was the prelude," she said. "The real war starts now. We have already lost." The hidden fleet moved. On the main screen of the Odyssey, the galaxy map was a field of fire. One by one, human colonies flashed red, then went dark. The Council's sleeper ships had awakened, and they were killing worlds. Commander Eva Rostova stood beside Vance on the bridge. Her hands were bound, but her voice was free. "They call their plan the final shape. They believe any strong rival must be cut down. They needed an excuse for total war. Maya's execution was that excuse."
"He wanted you to attack?"
Vance stared at the dying stars on the map. He had thought he was delivering justice. He had only given the Council what they wanted. The weight of it pressed down on him, making it hard to breathe. A new signal cut through the chaos. It was a live feed from the surface of Haven, a major agricultural colony. The image was shaky, filmed from a Marine's helmet cam. The sky was orange with fire. The sound was a mix of laser fire, explosions, and screams. "This is Sergeant Frank Corso of the Haven Militia. Is anyone receiving this? We are overrun. We have civilians in the bunker. We need support." They watched helpless, as Corso and his few remaining soldiers fought a retreat through burning streets. Council dropped troops in white armor advanced without mercy. A young soldier next to Corso was hit. She fell without a sound. "We see you, Sergeant," Ben Carter said into the com, his voice thick. "There's no support. The fleet is gone. You're on your own." On the feed, Corso stopped running. He looked back at the camera, his face covered in soot and blood. He understood. He gave a sharp nod. "Okay, then we will make it cost them." He turned and led his men in a final screaming charge back into the enemy line. The transmission dissolved into static. The bridge was silent. The only sound was the quiet beep of another colony going dark. Sam Cross, the young gunner, turned from his station. His face was hard. He looked directly at Vance. "You led us here. You lit the fuse. For what? So we could sit here and watch everyone die? Vance did not answer. He could not. The guilt was a physical pain in his chest. He looked at the bound prisoner Eva Rustova. She held the key to something. She had to. The council station, Vance said, his voice rough. Its main reactor. Can we overload it from here? Rustova's eyes went wide. Yes, the codes are in the system. But Leo, the station is full of our own prisoners. Thousands of them. And all the data we captured, it could show us their other plans. We are past that, Vance said. He turned to Carter. Target the station's reactor core with the gravity torch. Burn it, Leo. No, Rustova pleaded. The order was given. A beam of distorted light shot from the Odyssey, struck the center of the silver ring. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the station began to crumple like paper, twisting in on itself before vanishing in a silent flash. It was gone. Prisoners, the data, all of it. A necessary horror. A moment later, a single data packet flashed on Carter's screen, marked with Rustova's personal code. It had been sent just before the station died. It is from her system, Carter said, his voice hollow. It is a set of coordinates and a weapon schematic. Vance looked at the schematic. It was a planet killer, a relativistic projectile. The council called it the Cure. The coordinates were for a hidden world, Silas's command center. Carter looked up from the screen, his face pale. The packet was not just for us, Leo. She sent it to the entire remnant fleet. They all know where he is. They are all heading there. Vance understood. He had just become a fugitive. He had destroyed the evidence and the prisoners to cover his mistake. And now the only person who could clear his name had just declared him a traitor to all of humanity. The Odyssey was a ghost. It drifted through the empty edge of space, its hull scarred and dark. The crew moved in silence. They had heard the broadcasts, were now called the Rogue Fleet. Commander Vance was a traitor. The word hung in the air like a bad smell. Ben Carter stood beside Vance on the quiet bridge. We have no friends left, Leo. Every human ship has orders to shoot us on sight. Vance watched the star field. Then we will have to be invisible. They reached the coordinates from Rustova's data packet. Single planet hung in the void, shrouded in a shimmering energy field. The fleet of sleek automated drone ships patrolled around it. This was Silas's fortress. There was no way in, Carter said, studying the scanner. That shield would stop a star. The drones outnumber us 1,000 to 1. Direct attack is suicide. Then we do not attack directly, Vance said. He pointed to their scanners. A wrecked council supply ship tumbled slowly nearby, a casualty of some past battle. We used that. The plan was simple and desperate. A small team would pilot the derelict supply ship. They would use its old identification codes to drift close to the planet's shield. Then they would overload its engine core, creating a bomb big enough to blow a temporary hole in the defenses. It was a one-way trip. Sam Cross stood up from his gunner's station. I will do it. Vance looked at the young man. You do not have to, Sam. Yes, I do, Cross said. His eyes were clear now, the anger gone, replaced by a grim purpose. I was wrong before. It is not your fault. It is theirs. Let me help finish it. They did not waste time with goodbyes. Cross and 3 volunteers suited up and crossed over to the dead ship. The Odyssey watched as the derelict slowly drifted toward the fortress world. For a long time, nothing happened. Then, the supply ship's engines flared to life, a sudden bright star. It shot forward, slamming into the energy shield. The explosion was immense. The shield flickered, distorted, and tore open like fabric. It worked, Carter whispered. The hole is closing fast. Now, Vance yelled. The Odyssey shot forward, diving through the temporary gap in the shield. Alarms screamed as the ship entered the atmosphere, heat shields glowing red. It was a crash landing. The ship plowed a deep trench across a barren plain, coming to a jarring stop. The lights flickered and died, replaced by dim emergency strips. They were on the ground, on Silas's world. Vance, Carter, and a squad of Marines armed themselves and moved out. They headed for the only structure on the horizon, a tall white citadel that pierced the sky. They fought their way inside against silent robotic guards. The air was cold and clean. They found a large circular room with a clear dome for a ceiling. An old man stood with his back to them, looking up at the stars. He turned. It was Silas. He looked like a kindly grandfather, not a warlord. "Commander Vance," Silas said, his voice calm. "You are more persistent than I calculated. Where is the weapon?" Vance demanded, raising his rifle. Silas smiled a little. He gestured to a screen on the wall. It showed a diagram of a projectile moving through space. Its target was Sol, Earth's sun. "The cure is already launched. You are not saviors. You're just the last witnesses." A timer on the wall glowed with red numbers. It counted down from 59 minutes. Vance felt the floor drop out from under him. They had come all this way for nothing. Silas looked back at the stars, at the sun that was his target. "You cannot stop it. Nothing can. It is already done." The clock kept ticking. 58 minutes. Silas stood calmly under the dome. "You see, Commander? Your rage was always part of the plan. It proved humanity is a flaw in the universe, a violent, chaotic flaw. My cure will bring order." Vance did not speak. He moved. He fired his rifle at Silas. The old man did not flinch. A shimmering energy field absorbed the blast. From hidden doors, Silas's personal guards emerged. They were not robots. They were men and women in dark armor. Their movements too fast, too precise. Enhanced. Ben Carter yelled, "Open fire!" The room exploded with noise and light. The Marines fought, but the enhanced guards were better. They moved like ghosts, dodging bullets, striking with brutal force. One by one, Vance's men fell. Carter took a blast to the chest. He fell to his knees, then onto his face. He did not move. Vance fought with a wild desperation. He was not a super soldier. He was just a man. He used the console for cover, firing until his rifle was empty. A guard closed in, its metal fist smashing into his side. Vance felt his ribs crack. He fell, gasping for air. Silas watched, his hands folded. "It is done. Accept it." Vance lay on the cold floor. He looked at the timer. 47 minutes. He looked at the central control console. He remembered Rostova's data packet. The weapon could not be stopped. But the targeting system was a network. It needed a primary relay to guide the projectile. Destroy the relay, and the projectile would lose its lock. It would default to the nearest large gravity source. The star of this very world. The relay was a tall crystal spire in the middle of the console. It pulsed with a soft light. Vance's side burned with pain. He pushed himself up onto one elbow. His other hand fumbled for his sidearm. The enhanced guard turned, raising its weapon. Silas saw what he was doing. The old man's calm broke. "No, you would doom an entire world. You already did," Vance said. He fired his pistol. The bullet struck the crystal spire. It did not shatter. It cracked. A web of fractures spread through it. The light inside flickered and died. On the main screen, the projectile's course shifted. Its new target was the star that hung above Silas's fortress. Silas screamed, a raw sound of pure rage. The enhanced guard fired. The blast hit Vance in the shoulder, spinning him around. He collapsed, watching the ceiling. Outside the citadel, the sky began to change. The star darkened, turning a deep, sickly purple. The light on the planet grew strange and shadowed. The ground started to tremble. On the wrecked Odyssey, the few surviving crew felt the quake. They looked at their screens. They saw the star beginning to die. They'd saved Earth. They had murdered a world to do it. A weak signal came over the comm. It was a voice they did not know, broken by static. "To any ship, ... any human. This is the free colony of Orion, we heard. We heard what you did. The fight is not over. The war is never ending. Join us." Leo Vance lay on the floor, bleeding. He heard the voice through the open comm on his helmet. He had one. It saved his people. He looked at the purple, dying sky through the dome. He felt no victory. He felt nothing at all. He had become the cure for Silas's sickness, and the cure was worse.